May it please the court.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please tell us your full name,
Crystal Jewel Maxu.
and will you please tell us what you do for a living?
I own a cleaning company.
And are you local to the area?
Yes, I am.
How do you know Susan Lorincz?
I have known her probably since 2012. I met her at a church called Ocala Ministries.
Is Susan a devout Christian?
Yeah?
Was Susan always praying for you and your family and other people?
Yes.
Did there come a time where your niece was having a very difficult time in her life?
Yes.
And did Susan help in that process?
Yes, she actually mentored her.
How did Susan mentor your niece?
She would call her. She was in and out of some issues with mental health. And she would go and check on her and bake her food and call her and pray with her.
How would you describe Susan in general?
Very kind and generous. Pretty consistent.
Would you describe her as a good friend?
Yes, 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 yes.
Did Susan speak with you about her difficult childhood?
Briefly, I know that she had some very specific trauma concerning her childhood with her father.
Now, she never got into details with you.
No. No, sir.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, I just said no, sir.
Now, did you and Susan together pray for Susan and what she went through in her childhood?
Yes, we have prayed a few times.
And what did the prayers consist of?
Just healing.
Healing for Susan?
Yeah.
And the residue of the trauma?
Correct.
Is Susan a good chef?
Oh, my. Yes, yes, yes.
Please
yes.
tell us about that.
Well, she's baked for us and cooked for us for many years, even at our wedding. My husband and I, she cooked for 3 days, 3 straight days for us. And we had about 200-300 people there at the church, and she just would not stop cooking and baking, and she just continues to invite us over during the holidays and stuff, and she would cook just amazing things.
Was Susan, in your interactions with her, always helping people?
Yes, yes.
In what way?
All the time. She was just giving to people, cooking for them, going to give food away. She would help her sister. She would help her nephew. She would always give me rides when I had no ride or no license, actually, in the beginning of our friendship to St. Augustine to see my mom, who was handicapped, and my children.
Now, let's talk a little bit about Susan's sister. Susan has a sister?
Yes.
What is her name?
Ellen?
And how did Susan go about helping Ellen and her issues?
Well, she took her in a few times that I know of. Was always taking care of her. Always taking care of her nephew. I was there when he was born at the hospital, yeah, basically, I can't multiple places that she lived. She would always bring Ellen with her.
Now, Ellen has a son. I think you mentioned him.
Mm-hmm.
His
Gabriel.
name is Gabriel?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How was Susan as a aunt to Gabriel?
Amazing. She would, even at holidays and stuff, she was always buying him stuff, taking care of him, always concerned about him, always.
Now, you mentioned that your family or your mom lived in St. Augustine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was it at that point, was it difficult for you to get to St. Augustine to see them?
Yes.
And how would Susan help in that process?
She would offer me rides. She wouldn't even take money from me. She would help me. My mom and her actually became really good friends before my mom went home to the Lord, and just was there for me. Anytime, she'd always ask me if I need rides, take me to the store. Would have never asked me for money or anything.
Is it safe to say that Susan has been a good friend to you?
Yes, yes,
When you first met Susan, were you starting a new life here in Ocala?
yes.
And how were you starting a new life?
I moved here from a rehabilitation home, and decided to make a decision to leave everything behind in St. Augustine and start a new life. And I started working at the Melting Pot and went over to Ocala Ministries. They actually picked me up every single week for 10 months, and that's where I met her. And then she befriended me, and she was on a farm with some horses that she had, and her sister. And they were nothing. They never expected anything from me. They just always wanted to help me.
In this process of you rebuilding your life and starting a new life here in Ocala, did Susan help in that process?
Yes.
In what way?
Just being a friend, being there, helping with a new type of friendship. And, well, she, like I said, she would help me get on my feet. She gave me rides, just multiple different things that she would do to support.
From your interactions with Susan, is she a violent person?
No,
An aggressive person?
no, sir.
From your interactions with Susan and the time that you have known her, which has been approximately 12, 13 years at this point?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Is she a hard worker?
Yes.
In what way?
She's always working. We barely, actually, towards the last few years, we didn't get a lot of time to spend together. Holidays, she would always usually be cooking. But she was working at different places, and she was working like 50, 60 hours a week. And then she had some licensing she got from home and was working at home, but a lot of working.
Did she financially maintain herself and pay her own bills?
Yes.
Have you had an opportunity to see Susan interact with people?
Yes.
How does she interact with people?
Normal. Nothing abnormal. She was very, actually, with a church event she would invite me to because she sang. And she was really close to the church and the events, and she would always invite us to do like the monthly church, I guess maybe eating and where they have fellowship. And we went down there, and yeah, she was just always friendly.
Does Susan have a big heart?
Yes.
You mentioned her singing at church. Did she sing in the choir at church?
Yes.
Does she have a talent for singing?
Yes.
What kind of voice does she have?
I think it's called soprano. Not sure. Opera. It's like an opera.
And
She sounds like an opera singer.
And would she always sing at church and volunteer her
Yep.
time in that way? Did there come a time where Susan confided in you that she was having problems at home?
Yes, a few times she would ask me to pray for her for the next door people in the neighborhood.
But she never gave you specifics.
Not exact specifics, no.
Did you ever go to her home?
Yes.
Did you hear, was there a lot going on in the neighborhood?
It was loud.
Was Susan one to discuss her feelings with you?
Here and there, she was mainly getting to where she had mentioned the neighborhood, like she was thinking about moving.
Have you ever been in a situation with Susan where she has felt like she was in danger?
No.
Were you shocked when you heard that Susan was involved in this incident?
Very.
And why is that?
Well, I had to actually look on the internet to find out, and just that it's almost completely opposite of the person that I know, to be honest with you.
How has Susan's friendship helped you become a better person?
My past has led me to where I'm at today, and she was one of the very first people that befriended me. I didn't even know what a friend was. I didn't know how to be a good friend in my past, and it was always either take, give and take. And she was very much of a giver, and during this friendship, I learned from her on how to really treat people, and I believe honestly that God brought her into my life to help me to be a better person and a better friend. And today I know how to be a friend. And so it was very, for me, I thought about that for a long time, and she's been a consistent friend to me. Who would I be if I didn't come up here and say this today, the truth?
Okay. Thank you. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Anything from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Next witness, Your Honor, is